Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade game part video for you today. We are in our back room, and we've got crap everywhere. Joe, where did all this come from?
Bought out a storage unit. The guy had a whole storage unit full of games and parts and stuff.
So we bought a storage unit, and there is an entire tote of arcade and pinball related boards and things. And he brought it in, sat it in the back room here, and it's been sitting here for about a week. And we haven't even went through it yet. So we're going to go through it on video. What do you think about that? So we're going to say right here at the front, this is October of 2021 that we're filming this. And most of this stuff is not going to be for sale. So by the time you see this, a lot of this might already be gone. A lot of times we'll sell parts on KLOV.com, Killer List of Video Games, so some of this stuff may end up there. So here in the back, we've got a bunch of stuff we're working on. We've got an Asteroids cocktail table here that's buried. We got to get out. That's a back glass for a Medusa that I need to do some work on. And then we have a Pac-Man that the entire bottom is missing out of. So we're trying to get it solid again. The thing's seen better days, folks. So we're working on all kinds of stuff. But we need to go through this box and see what's in it and get it all sorted out. I've got a Stern Flight 2000 that we're working on right now, and the power transformer is missing from it. It's also missing the solenoid driver board, which is that board that's right on the top of the stack. So, Joe, you already did pretty good.
Hey, buddy, making money now.
We need that one. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull out a board, and then we're going to show it to you for a minute, so that you can think about it and see if you can tell what that board is.
How's it going?
And then we're going to tell you what we think the board is. And if it's one that we don't know, we'll look it up or whatever. But basically, we're going to go through it, show you a bunch of old parts. Now, it looks like a lot of these games were heavily damaged, like this one, obviously. So I think what we may be looking at here, unfortunately, is all that's left of several arcade games. Like that one that's covered in stuff, clearly that was in a flood. So the rest of that cabinet probably no longer exists on this earth, and all that's left is that monitor board there. Okay, folks, so Joe's going to hand them to us one at a time, and we're going to see what they are. Some of them we're going to keep, some of them we're going to sell. First up, Joseph.
I kind of already told him that.
Yeah, we already looked at this. You already know what this is.
That was on the top.
But we're going to look at it and see what kind of condition it's in. And people always complain, Joe, that we're going to get malaria from messing with these.
Keeps you healthy.
Because all of the joins on it. Lots of joins.
It'll be fine.
We're not going to get syphilis from this board, people. We're going to be all right. Okay, so this is a Bally solenoid driver board for their pinball machines. It goes in everything from 1978 up to about 1983 or so. This one has some issues. A little bit of smoke damage. So what happened was one of the transistors shorted and burned up the board a little bit. But that's looks like it's probably already been repaired. That's not a big deal. That's just literally soot damage. This is worse. The LM323 would probably need to be replaced. That's pretty rough. So that, and then you got your pins and stuff here. All look pretty bad. They should be shiny and they're black. Here's the back. A little rusty. This was not stored very well. Little jumper wire, a couple hacked transistors. These aren't worth a bunch of money, but we'll keep it. We might need a part off of it, or we might decide we want to rebuild it and put it in something. But we've got a bunch of these already anyway. But that's a pretty cool little catch. We'll put it with our other ones. Next one. I guess it goes like this. This is something special here. Now, some of you know exactly what this is. And you're all about to. Look at the... that's interesting. So I guess this was in a cabinet, and it got flooded, and then as the water went down, it left the sediment on the parts that were facing up. I guess. So you might say, oh, why don't you throw that thing in the trash? It's because this is something special. Can you tell what it is? Should I give them clues, Joe, and then work through it?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, so clue is this is part of a monitor. Was that enough of a clue? This is the neck board for the monitor, the neck socket at least. So they have removed this from the frame of a monitor. This is the vector monitor board for a Cinematronics vector monitor. So Cinematronics and Vector Beam were created by this one dude who came up with this design, and the Cinematronics vector monitors and Vector Beam vector monitors worked different than the Electro Home and Wells Garner ones, and were their own thing. So if you have a Cinematronics game, you need this type of monitor. Oh, there's also a Sega one, the Sega XY monitor. If you have a black and white, I think all the Cinematronic games were black and white. If you have a Cinematronics game, you need this board for the monitor. And it's kind of, I mean, I guess the yoke would be a problem, and then there's a big power supply that creates the high voltage. But this might be one of the harder parts to get, I guess. So this is very cool. I've got 2 Solar Quest cabinets that I don't know if the monitors work or whatever, so we might need this for parts for that. So we're going to save it, Joe.
All right.
When you got one this dirty, you could probably clean it in a dishwasher, believe it or not. Put it in the dishwasher, clean it all off. You would just have to think about, do you want to get all that crap in your dishwasher? But if you can sneak by and put it in there without your wife seeing it or something, it would clean it all up and make it nice and clean again. So we're probably going to have to try something like that. Maybe I'll take it home and clean it. But it's got the DAC chips still on it. And there's not a ton of stuff on these, so that could probably still work fine. All right, so we'll put it on the shelf. Okay, here's our next one. Now, you ought to know this one if you watch our channel regularly. So the first clue says Williams. All right. Next clue is you've got 3 LEDs here. And 5 fuses. So what do you think it is? I would ask Joe, but he knows what this is. You know what this is, don't you, Joe?
Power supply.
Yeah, but to what?
Defender.
This is a Williams power supply. So for their upright arcade games, this is their arcade power supply. So this was the power supply for Defender, Joust, Bubbles, Sinistar, Stargate, and Robotron, and Blaster, and 1 or 2 more. These aren't really all that valuable. It's a little bit valuable. I don't know, Joe. I think we can probably sell this.
Yep.
All right, I'm sending it off to be sold. We'll sell this on KLOV. We don't really even get that many Williams arcade games in very often, and usually they have the power supply in them. So we'll see if we can sell it online, though. Designed and manufactured by URL, which maybe means Universal Research Laboratories. Maybe. Stern. 12 volt, 5 volt, negative 5 volt. So this is a Stern power supply, and it's going to be for the video games too. This is not the pinball one. It's got a couple toasty diodes there. CR1 diode bridge. That's not missing, it's just they didn't use it. So this would be out of some sort of Stern. Wow. Look, they replaced the bridge rectifier with diodes, but the diodes burn all up. They must have had them the wrong size or something. Wow, don't do that, people. Don't do that. And this would have been up like that originally. This is the type that you can replace with a switching power supply pretty easy, so a lot of times people don't rebuild these, they just replace them. So this would be something that would be in like Scramble or Super Cobra, something like that. They usually have like a transformer that it plugs into too, which would be plugged in here. Okay, so Stern power supply, we'll sell that too. All right, they're getting harder. Some of you will know a little bit about this, but I'll bet you don't know exactly what it is. So someone has written way back in the olden times, June 16th, 1976 on it. So that was written on there 45 years ago. Somebody wrote that. And here we are looking at it all these years later. Now on this side, you see all the caps and everything, and all of the knobs. So why would they have all that? Well, this is going to be some kind of volume-related thing. This is some kind of sound-related thing. This big heat sink is going to be for the sound amplifier. Right? The little tag here says, made by American Casting. Maybe that's the little hook that says that. Let's see what the other side says. Yeah. Brady Distributing. So that was the local repair place. They would put these tags on the game with a little serial number. So let's say you brought this in and had it fixed. And then you came back in the next day and said, oh, it didn't work, man. I need you to look at it again. And you swapped it. You brought your other one in. People wouldn't do that, would they, Joe?
No, never.
People would never do that. So let's say you got this one fixed and then you brought your other one in and swapped it and said to the guy behind the counter, hey, it didn't work. Look at it again. And then it's a different board. So they would put this on there and write down which one they worked on. They worked on this one, this number. And so if you brought it back the next day and it didn't have this tag, they'd say that ain't the same board. Right? So this side, let's see, it's a midway. That's your first clue. This side, lots of little stuff. Okay. So it says, patent pending, made in the USA, inspected by so-and-so on date, and then it says 1976 as well. There's some dip switches here. Here's the other side. Looks a little rusty, but I think it's probably usable. Okay, so what is this? It's a midway board. It's a daughter board, or I think they actually call this the motherboard, and the big one's the daughter board. But it's the logic board for half of the logic board for a midway 8080 based game. So there's a little bracket, a little L-shaped bracket. Hand me that other one, Joe. Can you reach that one? Let me show you another one. Joe's real tall. He's got ape arms. So this is a Space Invaders Deluxe board. Okay. So this is the main board. Most people call this the motherboard, but I think they called it the daughter board actually. But it's got the 8080 CPU, the RAM, and then the support chips and the ROMs. And then this board would slide in here and replace that one. This one's slightly smaller. Okay? But this one is not Space Invaders. This is Space Invaders, but we had this already. This one is going to be something else, and I don't really know what it is. I don't think it's not Seawolf, because I've seen Seawolf. This may be Seawolf 2 or something, but it says 76, so I don't know. And one clue is it has these little chips here, which look to me like those probably go to this edge connector and probably turn on lights. Yeah. See how they all run up to this edge connector? What do you think, Joe? What's your guess?
I think it's a gunfight.
Gunfight. Midway gunfight. Maybe.
Maybe a tornado baseball or something.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Tornado Baseball. I'm not really sure, and I don't know how we would tell. That says 9073. I wonder if that means anything or if that's just a serial number. So this is one where you might have to... Oh, you know what? Yeah, part number there. All right, we're going to Google the part number real quick, and we'll tell you. Well, Joe was right. It's a gunfight. It's a gunfight board. So if you had that big main board, the larger one from like a Space Invaders, you may be able to get it working with this and have a gunfight PCB. There's the part number. So what are we going to do with this one? I have never had a gunfight, and I am not a parts hoarder. So we're going to sell it. What do you think, Joe?
Sell it.
Sell it. So we're going to sell it. And we're going to get it to somebody that maybe has a gunfight or needs a gunfight. But I've never had one. I don't foresee myself getting one. And I don't save things just to save them. I save things that I think I'm probably going to have more of in the future. So we're going to sell this one. It's a little crusty, but I think if you were looking for one, you'd probably be happy with it. It looks usable to me. Just needs cleaned up. Boy, he's digging. He's pulling stuff. Listen to him back there. What the heck? It's like an octopus. Oh boy, this will be a good one. Okay, so this is all the wiring out of something, okay? Now you should be able to figure this out just by looking at all the parts. Some of you are experts, I know. You're going to know all of this just as soon as you see it. So I'm going to try to not give it away. Big old power supply. And just to make it easy, I'm going to tell you that's a Midway power supply. So here we are, yet another Midway game. This operator must have loved Midway. So that's a Midway power supply, but it was used in several games, so you probably wouldn't be able to tell just from that. And then it's the wiring harness from everything, okay? And then we have this. This is something special here. Notice it says RGB. Okay, so this is it's for a video game, and this is a special board from the time when they went from black and white games to color games. And this board, this extra board, handled the color signals that came out of this one type of game that Midway made. So this is that board. Okay. And then we have this board, which is a metal plate with two knobs sticking through it and the power switch, right? And then on the back, you can see the little board. It's a little sound board. Okay. And then, here's what might give it away, maybe. So this is a board that has 9 little transistors on it that turns on and off 6 lights. So this actually mounts up beside the monitor in a Gorf. So this is like the whole guts of a Gorf, unfortunately. So this mounts up beside the monitor whenever you get, like, whatever you're like you're a cadet, and then what I can't remember what the names are, but it tells you what level you're at, basically. That's that. This is the RGB monitor interface board. Basically, how you hook up a color monitor to the Gorf. And then this is the sound board, the sound amp board, which actually had Gorf written on it. And this is the power supply. But what might be worth the most out of this is the harness, actually, because if you've got a Gorf that's been turned into another game and you're trying to turn it back into a Gorf, a lot of times you can put a new power supply in it. A lot of times you can find somebody to sell you this board, or sell you this board, but all these connections and everything might be the hard part. So this is kind of cool, but we'll sell this because we don't have an empty Gorf cabinet or anything. Somebody will want it. It's hacked a little bit on the power supply connector, but somebody could probably use that in a cabinet. So we'll sell that and get it out to somebody who can use it to get their Gorf back up and doing its thing. Okay, next up. What is this? So it's a Bally from '78, and it says solid state sound widget, soundboard. So this is a pinball soundboard. The only way you can tell what it goes to is by the number on this chip. This is the prom. You can change that prom to a different one, but if we can read the number on it, we'll know which one it is. Might have been wiped clean, people. I don't see any remnant of a number on there. So we'd have to just pop it in a game and see what it sounds like. This is so it's one of their early pinball soundboards. So this would be in something like the really early stuff, like Lost World or the Dolly Parton machine or Harlem Globetrotters. But I think before the Kiss game. Oh no, Kiss might have used this one too. And one knob is the sustain, and one knob is the volume. So I'll save this because we'll end up using it in a game. So all the early Bally games had this for about a year and a half or so. It says late '78. But without that number, you can't really tell what game it is. So we just had to put it in one and see if it sounds like the right prom. But we'll save that because we work on Bally machines all the time. It's another one that's a little rusty. Needs a little work. Needs a little work, Joe. All right, so you can see the Williams logo on it. So you can see the sound amp. So once again, it's a Williams soundboard. Video, Sound Rom, and I can't see the numbers ripped off. There's probably the date code, 1982, the 8th week of 1982. So the video Sound Rom, it's going to be from one of Williams' stand-up Why does this not have the speech connector, Joe? Oh, it's covered up on the front by the sticker. They put the sticker right over it. So this is one of their... it could be a pinball too, but it says right on it, video Sound ROM. So this is going to be from whatever game that power supply was out of, maybe a Defender or something. And this is the place where the ribbon cable attaches for like Cinestar to go to the speech board. You can also use this in the pinballs though. You just change some jumpers and the EEPROM. But so this would fit in like a Black Knight or something like that, but you would have to add the ribbon cable, so you'd have to populate that connector and all that. But it would have been originally out of something like Defender or Joust or something like that. Pretty cool. Grab bag. So this is a Seiko coin mech. It's kind of like the one in Donkey Kong, but it's a little different. So this would have been maybe in a Frogger or something. Can you tell, Joe?
No, I don't know.
Maybe a Frogger. something like that, and it's missing a little bit of it. There's a big plate that goes on here with a little hook on the top. And when you press this, it opens that plate up, but somebody's removed it. You can take it off so you can clean it.
They were in a lot of TATO cocktails and stuff too.
Yeah, so maybe something like that. They call it the roll down mech. There's supposed to be a little loop right here. So if you drop the quarter in and it doesn't take it, it comes back out here and sits here, and that loop holds it in place. But if it does take it, it falls the other way. Why do they have this metal thing on there, Joe? There's no way for the coin to fall out the back. Right? The coin can't fall out the back. Yeah, I don't know where the mech mount, I don't know where the switch would mount. Boy, what a mess. Let's see what's in this mess. Alright, so it's a whole box of like chips. Some of you, this might be your favorite part, but to me, not much value in these chips. So, somebody's stash of old EPROMs and stuff. These are not hard to find. You can buy new ones. Well, new or new old style. So, that one, it's a 2716, and it says TKG4 3PT. I think that's from a Donkey Kong. TKG4, I think, is the Nintendo code for Donkey Kong. And everybody was giving me crap because I didn't have stickers over the windows of the EPROM, but that's how they came from the factory. They didn't put the sticker over the window. You got to get a lot of light in there, people, to erase it. So that's a Donkey Kong one, but you know, you can just burn these again. There's a Z80A CPU. These ones like this with the midway thing, those are probably off like a Pac-Man or something. You could look it up. But on EPROMs, usually you can burn a new one. The only one, there's another TKG4, another probably off of Donkey Kong. Is this the lot that had the eight ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8-ball action. There was a kit they put out to turn a Donkey Kong into an 8-ball action, and I'll bet those are the chips they took off, and they put the chips to make it an 8-ball action on it. Those are Pac-Man. Yeah, that's that one says a man. A little bit left of the Pac-Man. They were probably kitting it into something illegal. All right, so a bunch of EPROMs. I mean, you know, we can use stuff like that. There's another Z80. Z80s are cool. More midway. This is all going to be Pac-Man stuff. So we won't really sell any of that because it ain't really worth nothing. The 74 373. The 74 42. Not much value there. Midway. Now something like this, sometimes you have a use for it. That's a midway prom, so those aren't as easy to burn. So they're not as easy to replace. I can order them. I have the guy at Hobby ROMs burns them for us. HobbyRoms.com. Another Z80. So sometimes like you need this. This may be like, they may have updated a Pac-Man to Pac-Man Plus or something and pulled this out because this is the little proms like this often would have like the color palette in it. So if you're changing the game, sometimes a simple way to change the way the game looks is to just change the color palette. So they may have changed the chip and pulled that one out, and that's the original Pac-Man color chip. So if you run it with the wrong prom in it, it'll work, but everything will be the wrong color. So it could be something like that. All right. So Most of you arcade guys and girls probably know what this is, if you've worked on several of them. So this is, first clue, it's part of a monitor. It says power right there. This is the power board for a Wells Garner 4600 monitor. So it literally, see the little connector? You can plug it into the board and it snaps in place and is held in place by these. So if you have a problem with like your power like your voltage regulation, you can take this out and put another one in. They made it modular. The deflection board and the input board, the color board can come out too. So that's kind of one of their things. These are really pretty cool monitors, but they get a thing where these connections on the end, the pins in the board, they get bad solder, and so they get a thing where it's not making good contact and the image wiggles on the screen. So you got to take the main board and resolder the connectors on the bottom so it makes good contact. But they're pretty reliable monitors once you get them rebuilt. The flybacks are reliable and all that stuff. So, but they're old, from like 1979 or 80 or something like that. And then this says Coin Control Inc., Elk Grove, Illinois, made in the USA. Boy, that's a special one there, Joe. Do you have two of them?
No, I don't think so.
It's kind of stiff.
Yep.
But it is working. You see the little leaf switch blades on the bottom of it. All right, Joe, tell us. What's so special about this one?
I don't know. It looks like a Cubert joystick, but it's not. I think it's just a Data East.
Yeah, I think it's like the ones they used. It kind of looks like the one in Superstars, the Superstars kit. I don't remember what those were.
It's a lot like it, but this was more in like Ghosts and Goblins and stuff, Data East stuff.
So this was like earlier. So it's just an old school leaf switch joystick. All right, pretty cool. We'll sell that.
I was hoping it was a Cubert, but it wasn't.
Yeah, not quite. Close though. So this box says standard register. I wonder if it had tickets in it. I wonder what standard register is. So it looks like it's a box of pinball stuff. So a Williams relay. This would be off an electromechanical something or the other. I'll save that. Another Williams relay. I'll save that. On these, the coil is about $12 for a new one, and then you got to pay to ship it, and you got to wait around for it. But if you happen to have one in the back, it works out good. Here is a flipper. I would guess by looking at the bushing that that's from a Gottlieb game. They have parted out a Gottlieb pinball machine. Yep. Confirmed. So see how that flipper bat has a groove in it for the rubber ring? That was a Gottlieb thing. So the rubber on a Gottlieb game is slightly thinner. The on a regular one, it just goes all the way. There's this little foot here, and then it just goes straight up. It doesn't have this at the top, and so the rubber ring is taller on a regular, like a Williams or a Bally. This is definitely from a Gottlieb, but I think there were some. I think Williams may have done it for a little while. I can't remember, but I'll definitely save that. You could use parts off that on something. Okay, this one is burnt up, and it's a Bally. See the cursive there? Yeah, Bally. It's burnt up, though. This is going to be the ball release coil for the out hole. So the ball lands in the hole, and then when this pulls in, it kicks it out to the shooter lane. But unfortunately, it's in rough shape, buddy. It would probably free up if I oiled it, but the coil's burnt up too, so that ain't going to be good. So that's a shame. You can tell if it's an electromechanical or a solid state by the diode. So it has a diode on it, so it's probably from a solid state game. But the EM ones probably look just about exactly like that. But we'll save it. We might use it for parts or something. Little switch from something. Some light bulbs. Some leg bolts. Pretty much useless. This is from a pop bumper. This little thing attaches to the 2 screws on the side of a pop bumper and pulls it down. Not too useful. This is the top of a tilt bob. This hook goes over it and it kind of hangs there with a weight on the end. And this wire connects to the line. And then there's a little ring that this hangs down in. And if you shake it and it touches the side, it shorts out and makes it tilt. This is also going to be part of the pop bumper. That's the thing that holds it. This old fuse block. Universal test lead, Herman Smith, Brooklyn, New York. Old set of leads. The guy has cut the ends off and soldered a little tiny thing to it, so I guess he could put it on a pin. He must have been working on something that he wanted where he could put it on the pin, like on a power supply, like on the edge connector pin, instead of trying to use his probes and getting electro killed. And a little nut driver, a little cheapo. So we found some guy's stash of stuff, so we'll save the leads for sure, and we'll save this. But this stuff here doesn't really have much use for us. The old leg bolts, you can buy new leg bolts for 60 cents. So. And the light bulbs, I don't save used light bulbs. Alright, so that's all trash, Joe. Alright, boy, what have we got here? He's trying to stump me. So, there is a daughter board with 3 ROMs on it. And some kind of... what in the world is that in the middle? I don't know what that is. And then this is a 82S153 with a date code of 1982. And there's a ribbon cable, and then on the board there is another socket. So what do you think it is? So Joe, I'm going to guess, I think that's a Miss Pac-Man bootleg. It's a bootleg Miss Pac-Man expansion board.
Yep, that's what I thought.
So Pac-Man had a MPU. Hand me a board, Joe. Let me show you a Pac-Man board. So here's a Pac-Man board that's watchdogging. So when the Pac-Man board looked like this, okay, this is Midway's version of it. And so whenever they came out with Miss Pac-Man, there was an official board that plugged in here with a ribbon cable. The Z80 goes here. You could take it out and plug this in. And then this board had 3 chips and a few little proms, I thought, on it too, but maybe they can get away without that because the chips are bigger. And you took the Z80 out of here and put it on the daughter board. And it's all right. Hell, they don't need one. But this looks like a bootleg version of it because they figured out, Miss Pac-Man was just like a ROM hack. So they figured out how to make copies of it. So this looks like this is probably a copy. All right. Those have like 0 value. Nobody wants them. You can also make Pac-Man into Miss Pac-Man without that board if you do like another type of ROM hack. All right. So this is a damn shame. That's what this is. So this is a Williams widget board. It's the in-out board for a Williams game. Very likely Defender or something. So basically this connects to the motherboard, and then the control panel connects here. And that's a shame. Yeah, it looks like a Defender one to me, but you could probably tell by all these. I'll bet only one of them has all these resistors and capacitors there. That's pretty cool. Next up. Oh, wow. Now we're cooking. Boy, this is something special. So, TATO, made in the USA. And don't potato me, people. Come on now, people. Come on, people. People, I'm not Japanese. It doesn't matter how I pronounce it. I'm not Japanese, people. If I try to pronounce that like Japanese people do, that would be wrong. I'm pronouncing it like I pronounce it. I say TATO. Made in the USA. Come on, people. It has that damn leaf on it, but I think that'll come off. So, if you look, TATO, you've got a 6821, a 6821, and a 6821. So those are, they call them peripheral interface adapters. So I don't know for sure, but I'll bet the in-out stuff attaches here. So this is going to be like control panel and stuff, I'll bet. And this is also a generic board where it was like a system so they could put other things on it. And so there's a bunch of EPROMs on here because this is like their ROM board. Okay? These three big connectors are ribbon cables so that they can connect this board to other boards and send all of the address and data lines and stuff across it. But there may be a way to tell exactly what it is if you're really good. You might be able to tell just by how many ROMs are in it. See how there's two that aren't used? If I'm going to guess, it's TATO. This is either a Zookeeper or this is a Kix board, Q-I-X, Kix. That's my guess. But that's pretty cool. This is actually fairly valuable. Somebody will want this. I don't have any TATO stuff, so we'll sell that. What's up next, Joseph? Oh, man. That tells us right there. It must have been out of a Kix. So that's the soundboard for it. But you know, the sad part is this means there's another missing Kix cabinet in the world, but thank God they saved the boards. And it looks like it's in decent shape. Got a little rust on the chips. Ugh. Ugh. But the actual board itself doesn't look that bad. So some of those chips may clean up, or they may be rusted enough that they need replaced. But it's a 6802 and a 6809. And I can't see what those two are. There's another 6821 PIA. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so we got a partial set for Kix. We'll make somebody's Kix happy again. Huh. Well, we found the rest of the Kix, I think. Wow. Yeah. These are the connectors for the power supply on a TATO. P3, maybe that means power 3. Probably this too. But it's the whole cabinet wiring. This is the interlock switch, probably from the back door or something. So it's, on one hand it's cool they saved this, but on the other hand it's sad that the cabinet must be gone, you know. But well, it's cool that they saved it, but sucks that it's gone, Joe. We need a box to put all this in so we can sell all this. Somebody will need this for their Kix project. if you had a CNC machine, you could probably cut a new cabinet, but I'm stretched real thin, people. I can't cut like all the different cabinets we need. It would take me a couple weeks to get the kicks files just right and test cut it and everything just to make one cabinet, and then you gotta you're missing all the brackets and stuff. So we'll sell it to someone who's already got a cabinet. Okie dokie. Okie dokie, neighbor. Sega. 1982. FGH. The giveaway is this blue ribbon cable for show. All right, what do you think it is? 1982 Sega with a blue ribbon cable and a transistor that literally just fell off the board. This stuff here is kind of rough, Joe. I believe this is the soundboard. See all the pots that are rusted? This is what's left of the soundboard out of a Sega Turbo, I think. Think so?
Yep.
The interesting thing about these is, see all the connections over here? The reason they had so many connectors is because you could plug in the tachometer on the cockpit to the soundboard. And as the board made the engine sound go louder, so as the engine sound went up, the tack was reading the signal for the sound, and it would raise the tack off of the soundboard. Very cool. This one's pretty rough though, so I don't know about that. Maybe we can use it for parts or something, but it looks pretty corroded, and it's just so complex. There's so much stuff on it that it's not as easy to go through and replace all the stuff that's rusty, because it's all rusty and there's 1,000 parts there. But luckily, if you do get a turbo in, usually the soundboard's working pretty good, so we'll see.
All right, we're at the bottom of the barrel. You're going to come over here.
Here we go. We're moving. We're rolling. Transformer with plugs, 6.3 volt AC. So that would be for the coin door lights. And then 2 plugs for 120 volt AC, but only one of them was plugged in because the other one's dark. And then you got a couple plugs over there. This is going to be the power brick out of the bottom of the kicks. Boy, that's a damn shame. Well, we found most of the cabinet. There's just no wood, people. Bunch of junk left. Nothing really all that special. Edge connected to something. That kind of looks like the power supply out of the same thing. Are there 2 of them messed up?
Look like they parted.
Oh no!
They parted 3 of them.
Oh man, it's worse than we thought. Wow. Well, it is what it is. A couple coin mechs, a coin box maybe out of one of them. Big old freaking AC fan, maybe out of a turbo. What in the world would that have been for? Not pinball related. Another fan. This would have been a bolt in the front of a game for a lock bar or something. Well, Joe, I think we're about down to the dredges. That's about it.
Yep.
One last one. Brady Distributing. Amp socket. 22 pin edge connector. All right, Joe, what's this?
Pac-Man filter board.
Pac-Man filter board. Did they all have them originally?
I believe so.
Pac-Man filter board. In real nice shape. But this was just on there because the government made you put one on there. You don't really need it. It just passes all these connectors through filters and then into the edge connector. So many of them have been pulled off that I don't even know if it was supposed to be on there. You sure it's Pac-Man?
Pretty sure. I'm not positive.
22 pin edge connector. That would be Pac-Man. I think you might be right. All right, so there you go, people. I hope you enjoyed that. I think the catch of the day was the kicks stuff. That's pretty cool. So we'll list that on KLOV and get it out to some people that can actually use it. What do you think, Joe?
Sounds good.
Instead of hoarding it in this bucket. It's been back here for weeks. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. What did you see that you liked? Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And if you want to support the channel, don't send us any money. Unless you really want to and you got a bunch of it. That'd be all right. But what you can do is go down below. There's a link to Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, use our link to go there, and it gives us a tip. So we appreciate that. So we'll use some of this stuff. Some of this stuff we will sell and get back out to people who need it for their game to keep these suckers moving. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you on the next one.